how are you enjoying doing the neighborhood with Cedric the Entertainer?
It's the best, man. It's like a real old school. I mean, it's an old school multicam, which is really nice. And I think like not a lot of them exist anymore.
In front of a live studio audience.
Live studio audience. It's not really a joke-based comedy. It's really situational. And there's like the writer Jim Reynolds, who created the show, has really allowed it to have these real moments. And where there isn't necessarily a joke at the end. They don't let the audience off the hook. And you get to really know these characters. And it's been so much fun.
Yeah. And what's it been like with Cedric the Entertainer? I mean, as you point out, I mean, he goes way back here in Los Angeles. He knows everybody. And
yeah,
he's
he really is like, he really is a legend and just knows everybody and has so many of his people. Like Ray Lewis came by the set the other day. Like there's just all these like people that just will roll through.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray came through. It was really cool.
He's a big dude.
He is.
He's bigger than you think, right? Could you imagine him in pads coming angry downhill at you?
He's got an enormous head.
I never really thought about it that way.
So, like, I had a buddy of mine who played middle linebacker at UMass, and he said that the scouts came up to the NFL scouts came up to him and they said, "Let me look at your hands," and he was like, "What?" And he showed him his hands, and they go, "Oh no, you're like 70 pounds more than you should be." And he was like, "I at the time I was." He like beefed up
just by looking at his hands,
because they could see that his hands were disproportionate to the rest of his body. And then you see some of these guys like Ray Lewis, and I remember I met Lance Briggs, and you're like, these guys are freight trains, and like the wheels fit on the train. You know what I mean?
We were talking about this the other day about Urlacher. When you meet Urlacher, he is way taller than you think he is. McGinnis, Willie McGinnis.
Ooh, I have a good Urlacher story.
This is now the floor is yours.
So we were doing, this is many years ago. This is
when he was bald.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, totally. And he was a young bear.
Okay.
We were doing a celebrity this is when NSYNC was still a group. We were doing I was like
But by the way, they still are a group.
I guess so. We were on, but this is before Timberlake went solo. So we were in Chicago. They invited me out. I was on Veronica Mars at the time, and they invited me out to do some NSYNC basketball game. And it was in Chicago, so Urlacher was playing in the game. And you could tell once it sort of once they tip the ball, this guy like just doesn't know how to go half speed. And there was some drummer from some band, like some poppy, guitar band,
got in the way.
And he was going for a loose ball, and Urlacher thought, I got a chance of this. This guy mowed down this poor drummer from whatever, and
Spinal Tap,
in a way that was every like teen girl who was sitting there going, "Oh my God, we're seeing them play basketball," was like immediately horrified. And you could see Urlacher got the ball, like knocked it back in bounds, and you could see like it was just. There wasn't any sort of recognition that I had just murdered a pop star on the side of the court.
Well, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame, Max, because he only knows one speed.
It was really cool to see.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.